Operating systems is one of the biggest weaknesses of most businesses. And in this conversation with Blake, he talked about how he and the team that he works for created a system for which he can operate at a high level, and it allows him to focus on his highest and best tasks, and he allows other people to focus on their gifts and strengths to support him. And so if you're a business owner looking to grow, this is a foundational mentality that you have to have when you grow your business. And in this conversation with Blake, he talks about how he adopted that when he joined this team and how they do it at such a high level. So I want to talk more about the system because I think it really sets you guys apart. And if you're a buyer or seller thinking about picking an agent, I think this is a great decision point to make to decide to work with somebody who's got a team instead of just working by themselves. And so, there's a couple of things that when we talk about a team or our team, there's the values that we operate within are important. And I think, I know Trey knows the values off the top of his head. I'm not going to ask you to name the values, but I know, you're welcome. But I know that they all are important and that you obviously support those values because you're still there, but also the people that he's put in place in the process to allow you to operate well. So like, what is it about Trey's team that sets him apart just from the culture within the organization that y'all have?
Well, I think the culture is it's like a winning culture, and I think everybody loves a winner, right? And it keeps you motivated, and everybody wants to be able to wake up in the morning and be happy with where they're going to go. Mm-hmm. I know you guys are because you guys have created something amazing here. And I know that you guys, when you guys wake up every day, you're like, I can't wait to go to work. Mm-hmm. Like this is like you're living your dream.
Most days. I'm going to go ahead and be, honest.
I know it's most days because of him, right? but you wake up and you're like, man, like I get to do this.
Yeah. It's exciting opportunities.
It's not I have to do this. It's I get to do this. And I think that's the coolest part. The system is just, it's set up in a way to allow people to be successful. Yeah. We talk about it all the time when we're interviewing new agents. Do you want to sell 10 houses a year? We have the blueprint for that. 20, 30, 40. It doesn't really change. The numbers just change, yeah. Right? And so we pay attention to specific KPIs, all from dials, conversations, appointment set, appointment met, signed, under contract, closed. Nothing else matters.
Those key metrics y'all measure.
Those are key metrics that we're paying attention to.
And y'all are reviewing those every week.
We review them every week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, but what does that do from y'all's mentality, though? I mean, y'all show up. I've been in y'all's meetings. You show up and y'all review them every time. Everybody has to talk about them from a accountability standpoint and from a mentality of somebody on that team. Like, what does that do for the group whenever you all sit together and talk about this?
As somebody who's ended up at the bottom of that numbers at sometimes in terms of appointments met and set, everything like that, it upsets me. And it kind of, now obviously it's going to have a different effect on everybody. And we're not aiming to shame anyone because that's not the goal of this. The goal is just to remind you of what you told me that you wanted, right? You wanted to sell this many houses. Well, this is how you get there. And if you're not there, we're going to tell you that you're not there. But there's never any malice or shame that's accompanied with that. And I think us being able to go over those every week allows someone to see where they are. You don't really know where you are unless you're keeping a scoreboard, And as somebody who did this for 3 years part-time, I will tell you that what I did for then is nothing compared to what I'm doing now. I mean, we were just winging it back then. Like when I became full-time, like your ear becomes so much closer to the ground of market trends, just like where the interest rates are, where like how insurance is. Like
care.
You have more skin in the game. And I think as part-time, it was just, hey, I'll see you when I see you. Yeah. Just send me the houses you want to go see and I'll request them and I'll meet you there. Yeah. And that's that's just not enough.
And like a part of the operating system that we always preach is that you have to have a weekly meeting to calibrate where you're at and also improve on your process. And I've been being at y'all's meeting before, reviewing the numbers, talking about accountability, talking about the goals. I do want to talk about the goals in just a second and how y'all come up with those things. But how important is it for you to also, and I know you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I want to reiterate, going over the market trends, because every week y'all are going over the year to date trends of the housing prices, how many contracts, how many solds there were, and it's something that y'all look at every week. And when the mentality you have whenever you're going to talk with a client, I'm sure it shifts whenever you do that. So what value does that bring beyond just the meeting, to having the knowledge that you can bring to the market too?
Well, I'll tell you. So as when I first started, when I was in Baton Rouge, the meetings are a lot bigger with a lot more people. And when you're asking certain questions like, what are you guys seeing? What are some of the objections that you're hearing from your buyers or your sellers? And you start to hear those types of things. And it's kind of like, wait, I heard that too.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm not. So this person's not crazy that they're telling me that they want to wait because of X, Y, Z. And so I think just hearing certain things from other agents' perspectives allows you to interlock those puzzle pieces to say, okay, this actually does make sense, what I'm hearing. So, but we also want to know how can we overcome those objections? Because when we're talking to these, we have so many people to talk to, we want to make sure we're saying the right things. And it's easy for someone to say, how's the market? And you're like, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
But the follow-up question needs to be asked, well, what approach are you looking at it from? As a buyer, a seller, potential investor? Because my answer is going to be different depending on what you say to that.
Yeah.
So I think for us, the value is, from the very beginning, I was taught to come from a place of curiosity. The person who's going to ask the most questions is going to be leading the conversation. And so you will get all the answers that you want by asking the correct questions.
Yeah.
So
I heard an agent tell me this one time. You can determine, usually if you ask an agent how the market's doing, their answer is going to depend on how well they're doing, not really the market. The only real way to know whether the agent knows whether they're talking about is if they actually have numbers to be able to back up the feeling that they're having about the market. If they just say, it's good or not too great, that's usually like a reflection of how well they're doing. If they say it's doing great, these are the numbers of solds in my area, this is the average sales price. If they have data to back up their feeling, then you know that it'll probably a little bit more accurate than it's not just a reflection of who they are and what they're doing. So, and two more points on this operating system thing that I think is important, that if other agents are listening and wondering what's the benefit of a team, it's important. What is Trey's mindset and your mindset when you're working with the North Shore agents on setting goals for themselves? I think the perception sometimes is that this person's going to make me show up and do this many closings and have this many meetings, and it's going to not create the business that I'm looking to create for myself. What is y'all's mindset when you're meeting with the agents to help them set an annual goal?
Yeah, so we're asking them, what are they looking to accomplish? Like somebody might not be interested in being super busy. They're like, hey, I just really want to close like one a month. I'm like, okay, so here's what it's going to take for you to close one a month. It's going to take you to talk to this many people to then be able to set enough appointments. You're not going to close every deal, or you're not going to close every client that you come into contact with. But we call it a contact sport. You want to hit as many people as you can.
Yeah.
But in terms of putting those goals together, we have an offsite meeting every October. I think the last couple of years we've done it at Top Golf in Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
And Trey has a couple speakers come in. We talk about just different areas. I think last year was a lot about, I think it had to do with, like, we had an accountant come in and talk about some stuff. Because tax season was coming up, and then a couple other speakers that came in, and then we dive into the goal setting. We have a couple of worksheets that we'll go through, just trying to figure out. But it's a lot of like critical thinking for yourself. Before, like, a lot of work before we even walk into that room.
Nice.
And being able to put pen to paper of like what you want to accomplish, you're infinitely more like able to reach that,
and likely
to reach it.
Yeah. So the last question I want to talk about before we get into the last segment is, how important is the transaction coordinator when it comes to your business, not only to you but also to your clients?
Yeah. So back to my point about it's not a flex to be doing the paperwork at 11 p.m. I think a great transaction coordinator is somebody who anticipates what you need before you need it, or is kind of like filling in the gaps of things that might may have slipped through for me, but didn't for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so obviously we have an insanely good transaction
Amazing.
coordinator.
Yeah.
She's incredible. Jamie, she's
Shout
amazing.
out.
Shout out to Jamie. She's incredible, and she's been. What I like to say is that she's been doing this longer than me.
Yeah.
And so not only is she good at her job, but her opinions that she interjects all the time are super relevant.
Sure.
And, she's able to come from the experience of this. I know she worked in title before.
Yeah.
Um,
She's seen a lot. I
as
mean,
well.
she worked on a very high producing team back in 2015 and 16. And then she started her own little company. She came work for us for a minute at our old firm, and now she has her own firm. And I think the best part about Jamie is that if she questions something, she's going to go find the answer herself and not
Right.
just throw it out there for you guys to go find. Because I'll get a call from Jamie and say, hey, I want to talk about, or ask you, or put it on a group text to the agent, touch base with Jared about this to make sure that we're doing it the right way. And even if, it's not a true issue, she's looking and thinking critically about the
Solutions-oriented.
situation to make sure that
and
it doesn't
look,
fall through.
I'll be honest. When I'm meeting new agents, I'm telling them about this. People, some people have no idea what a TC is or have ever known anything other than doing their own paperwork. And I try to tell them, like, wouldn't you like to free up the majority of your time to be able to go sell houses, right?
Yeah.
And the answer is always yes. Like, yeah, I want to be able to, like, I don't want to be bogged down with, like, constantly doing addendums or amendments and all the what we consider minutia. Obviously, it's incredibly important and for our jobs, and we're still on top of everything as the point person. But it just allows us, like, for me, I don't know how many more hours I'd be working to be able to stay at the level that I'm at right now.
100%.
If I was doing all those things myself.
Yeah.
So I would say for me, it's completely from an efficiency standpoint, just frees you up. Like, your time is super valuable.
Yeah.
I like to even rephrase it to say it removes your excuse. I can't tell you the number of people that have come to me for business advice and they don't have the time. You know, that it's always going to ebb and flow because I have to get these things done and I'm not sure that I can leverage it out or I don't trust anybody to leverage it out.
Yeah.
But all they're doing is making an excuse while they're not going getting more damn business.
Right.
That's all that's happening all day.
And from the very beginning, Trey taught me one thing. He says, I want you to focus on the highest dollar producing activities. Prospecting and finding new business, going on appointments, writing contracts, and going to closings.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the most important thing.
And when you're good at it, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
the beauty of it is, and there are some people who have the mentality of a transaction coordinator that try to be realtors or that they are real estate agents, but they just struggle. And the beauty of when you find the right spot for you, like those types of people who are transaction coordinators and they do really well at it, they want to be doing that type of consistent. Yeah, and they want to rely on people like you to go get the work. And then similarly, we feel the same way, right?
Yeah.
I'm similar both to you. I want those people on my team, and we're going to run together much faster than if I'm trying to stay up late at night and do the paperwork, or you're trying to go get business. And so it's such a great combination whenever you find the right person.
I mean, it's world class service.
Yeah.
And it's definitely something that we pitch to our sellers and buyers. Like, hey, you're going to hear from somebody other than me.
Yeah.
During this time
You should
too.
be proud of that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So world-class service on the North Shore.
That's
Yeah,
right.
that's right.
Love it.
That's right.
Bringing it right here.